For this video, we're going to be discussing the outdoor ethics. This is a big part of your advancement to know this stuff, so we're going to go over it. So it's, see, Chapter 7 in my book starts on page 220. We're going to go over to page 223. We're going to start off with the outdoor code. To define outdoor ethics a little better, the BSA created the outdoor code. That was back in 1948 when Americans were beginning to venture farther and farther into the wilderness. Not to find new places to settle, but to enjoy their natural environment. So I'm going to recite the outdoor code, and part of one of your advancement requirements is going to be to memorize this. So this is another one to sit down and work on. There's a lot of memorization involved when you first start out in scouting, so don't get frustrated or whatnot if you can't get it all right away. It does take time, and even I have to think about it from time to time to try to remember everything. So the outdoor code. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, be careful with fire, be considerate of the outdoors, and be conservation minded. I'm going to go over this, what each one of those points mean, and kind of how it relates to my life, as you guys will be required to do in your advancement. The outdoor code is something that you should memorize, just as you've memorized the Scout Oath. More importantly, you should put its principles to work so you can play a role in preserving America's great outdoor heritage. As an American, I will do my best. So I have a duty as an American and a scout to care for the environment to the best of my ability. As more and more people use outdoor areas, scouts should set a good example of how to care for the land. Just do your best, care for the land around you. So that's pretty self-explanatory there. Be clean in my outdoor manners. I will treat the outdoors as a heritage. I will take care of it for myself and others. I will keep my trash out of lakes, streams, fields, woods, and roadways. Make a habit of packing out any garbage you create or come across during your travels in the outdoors, and protect waterways by camping at least 200 feet away from the shore. Each of these small steps can add up to really reduce our impact on the environment. The first sentence there, I will treat the outdoors as a heritage. So the heritage of the outdoors means it's not just for you to enjoy, it's also going to be for future generations to enjoy, your kids, grandkids. Help conserve it for future generations. One of my biggest things, and you guys will probably hear me say it in other videos, trash. Anywhere you find humans, you find their trash. Not everybody is a scout, not everybody is conservation minded. Don't throw your garbage on the ground. That's one of the few things that'll get me, I guess, irritated. I don't really get angry, but if I see a scout throwing something on the ground, I will definitely say something. If I see anybody throwing anything on the ground, I will definitely say something. One of the big things that I push at summer camp when we have scouts on camp is to have a garbage pocket. Most of your scout pants and shorts are cargo. They'll have side pockets, back pockets. A lot of you will carry a day pack, as you should. So anytime you walk past any garbage, pick it up. Our camp is very clean, and that's because that's been something that we have pushed for many, many years. If you see garbage, don't walk past it, pick it up, put it in your garbage pocket. I spend a lot of time in the woods here and even away from the main road, and I'm still amazed sometimes at the cleanliness of our camp, because a lot of state and public parks you go into like this, that are similar similar to our woods, there's a lot of garbage from years and years and years. So keep your camp clean. That keeps it safe and healthy for the animals and future generations. So be careful with fire. I will prevent wildfire. I will build my fires only when and where they are permitted and appropriate. When I have finished using a fire, I will make sure it is cold out. I will leave a clean fire ring or remove all evidence of my fire. Be sure that you understand how to use campfires and camp stoves well before setting out on a trip, and follow all safety precautions to the letter. There's going to be a couple of campfire videos, or there's going to be one main campfire video that I show you how to build a fire. Before you do that, you have to find out when and where it is permitted and appropriate. So we're in Iowa. You can see it's pretty green behind me. It's a rainy day today, so our summers are generally pretty wet. We don't have a huge risk of wildfire here like you guys do in other parts of the country. I know we have scouts from out west, California, New Mexico and such. So I know you guys are a little bit more at a risk for wildfires. You guys have more restrictions on your campgrounds, so it might be no fires permitted for a good part of the year. So make sure you understand where it is permitted and appropriate. That means don't necessarily have to just start a fire just to start a fire. Where it's a where you're going to be using it for cooking or any campfire activities, it's appropriate. You don't have to just start a fire because they're fun. Be considerate in the outdoors. I will treat the land and other land users with respect. I will follow the principles of outdoor ethics for all outdoor activities. Being considerate in the outdoors includes things such as keeping your voice down on the trail, avoiding brightly colored clothing, staying on established trails, and crossing private land only with permission. When I go out in the woods, and I think I touched on this in my hike video, when I go out in the woods, I don't know if you guys can probably hear this on the video. I can hear crows throwing a fit. I like to see the wild animal. In Iowa, we have a lot of turkeys and deer, especially on this camp. So squirrels, groundhogs, raccoons, possums, woodchucks. I said woodchucks. I like to see the birds, and I like to see the animals. So a big part of that is I walk very quietly. I don't come out here to listen to people hoot and holler and shout and start big fires and throw their garbage everywhere. So just be considerate of other people and understand that unless it's on your own land, your private land or something like that, any of these public spaces, just be considerate of other people that use it. It's just the scoutly thing to do, and it's the right thing to do. Be conservation minded. I will learn about and practice good conservation of soil, waters, forests, minerals, grasslands, wildlife, and energy. I will urge others to do the same. Keep conservation in mind all the time, and you will make decisions that are good for the environment. Sharing information is one of the best ways to learn, so discuss with your fellow scouts how conservation guides your decision. We have to conserve these for other people, future generations, as well as your generation that are going to be using these for, maybe the next 60, 70, 80 years. I don't know. One of the sayings that's always stuck with me is and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, I'm sure, but a wise man or a good man is a man that plants trees that he knows he'll never sit under. My Uncle Jim edits these videos, so maybe you can put that phrase up there with who said it, but that's always one that stuck with me. Take good care of the natural spaces around us. So we're going to get on to the leave no trace principles here. In my hike video, I talked about it very briefly. We're going to get a little bit more in depth here, but like I've always said, take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints. And again, I'm not sure who said that or if there's even anybody credited with saying that, but I know it's on one of the entrance signs to one of our local public parks a couple hours away from here. That's a really beautiful place. Scouting adventures cover a wide range of activities, from spending weekends at public campgrounds and BSA council camps to backpacking many miles through the forest, deserts, and mountains. Think about leave no trace wherever you hike, camp, or do any other outdoor activities, and do your best to follow its principles. Make them a guide for how you conduct yourselves in the outdoors. I'm going to take a quick break here. I'm going to go get myself another cup of coffee, and we'll get right back into this. Alright, Scouts, we are back at it here with the principles of leave no trace. Got a refill of my coffee here. The first principle of leave no trace is to plan ahead and prepare. Know the regulations and special concerns for the area you will visit. Prepare for extreme weather, hazards, and emergencies. Schedule your trip to avoid times of high use. Visit in small groups whenever possible. Consider splitting larger groups into smaller groups. Repackage food to minimize waste. Use a map and compass to eliminate the use of marking paint, rock cairns, or flagging. Travel and camp on durable surfaces. Durable surfaces include established trails and campsites, rock, gravel, dry grasses, and snow. Protect riparian areas by camping at least 200 feet away from lakes and streams. Good campsites are found, not made. Altering a site is not necessary. In popular areas, concentrate on using existing trails and campsites. Walk single file in the middle of the trail even when wet or muddy. Keep campsites small. Focus activity in areas where vegetation is absent. In pristine areas, disperse use to prevent the creation of campsite and trails. Avoid places where impacts are just beginning. The next principle is to dispose of waste properly. Pack it in, pack it out. Establish your campsite and rest areas for trash, for food, or spilled foods. Pack out all trash, leftover food, and litter. Deposit solid human waste in a cat hole dug 6 to 8 inches deep, at least 200 feet away from water, camp, and trails. Cover and disguise the cat hole when finished. A cat hole is an outdoor bathroom, so dig it 6 to 8 inches down and disguise it when you're done. Pack out toilet paper and hygiene products. To wash yourself or your dishes, carry water 200 feet away from streams or lakes, and use small amounts of biodegradable soap. Scatter strained dishwater. The next principle is to leave what you find. Preserve the past. Examine, but do not touch cultural or historic structures and artifacts. Leave rocks, plants, and other natural objects as you found them. Avoid introducing or transporting any non-native species. Do not build structures or furniture or dig trenches. Minimize campfire impacts. Campfires can cause lasting impacts to the backcountry. Use a lightweight stove for cooking and enjoy a candle lantern for light. Where fires are permitted, use established fire rings, fire pans, or mound fires. Keep fires small. Use only sticks from the ground that can be broken by hand. Burn all wood and coals to ash, put campfires out completely, and then scatter the cool ashes. Respect wildlife. Observe wildlife from a distance. Do not follow or approach them. Never feed animals. Feeding wildlife damages their health, alters natural behaviors, and exposes them to predators and other dangers. Protect wildlife and your food by storing rations and trash securely. Control pets at all times or leave them at home. Avoid wildlife during sensitive times like mating, nesting, raising young, or winter. And finally, be considerate of other visitors. Respect other visitors and protect the quality of their experience. Be courteous, yield to others on the trail. Step to the downhill side of the trail when encountering pack stock. Take breaks and camp away from trails and other visitors. Let nature's sounds prevail. Avoid loud voices and noises. If you guys have any more questions or require any further information on that, you can go to lnt.org, the leavenotrace.org. lnt.org is their website. We're going to go over each of these a little bit more in depth here over the next few pages. I'm going to let you guys kind of go through some of that on your own. I'm not going to pound on that too hard, but plan ahead and prepare. Leave no trace begins before you ever leave home. By planning ahead, you can minimize your impact on the environment while still having a great time. Be sure you understand the principles of leave no trace, including specific practices that apply to your destination. What works in public campground doesn't necessarily work in a subalpine wilderness area. Find out from land managers if there are any limits on group size and if permission is required to enter a backcountry area. Land managers also might suggest ways that you can lessen your impact, such as staying in certain places or avoiding certain times of the year. Consider what gear and supplies you will need to take to help reduce your impact. You might need a trowel to dig cat holes, a plastic bag for packing out trash, a lightweight stove for cooking, and a fine screen to strain food particles from dishwater. Travel and camp on durable surfaces. Durable surfaces are areas that will not be damaged by your footsteps, bicycles, or tents. A trailer is a good example of a durable surface. The soil of most trails has become so compacted that little can grow there. By staying on existing trails, you protect the surrounding landscape and the plants and animals that live there. What if the trailhead is already muddy? Wade right in. When you use the edge of a trail or go around a muddy or rutted stretch, you widen the trail unnecessarily, and never take shortcuts, especially on hillsides. Those almost always lead to damage from erosion. This is why we wear proper footwear. So if it's muddy on the trail, stay on the trail. We have a large hill here at camp called Big John. It's a switchback trail. We're going to kind of go into what switchbacks are. But a big one there is that we do not allow scouts to cut the switchbacks and go straight up the hill. Once you step on the plants in that area, it kills the plants, makes bare dirt, and then that bare dirt will wash downhill and create ruts in the event of rain. So always use established campsites when they are available. If there are no designated camping areas, make your camp on sand, gravel, rock, compacted soil, dry grasses, or snow. All of these are durable surfaces. In more remote areas, it may be more appropriate to practice dispersed camping if allowed. Select a durable surface that shows no signs of prior camping. Vary your traffic pattern around the site. Cook only with stoves, so no campfires, and stay only one night in the same location. Pitch your tents well away from streams and lakes, which will allow animals to reach the water and lessen your impact on shorelines. Pick a campsite that is big enough for your group, or split up and camp in separate sites. Keep your tents and cooking areas near the center of your site to protect surrounding soil and vegetation. Be careful as you walk around your campsite so that you don't trample plant communities, pack down the soil, and form unwanted pathways. If you guys are thinking about playing capture the flag or tag or anything like that, try to be conscious of where you're doing that. Dry fields with tough vegetation are perfect, while a damp meadow might be too fragile. So again, follow your rules. Everything we just talked about for durable surfaces for any activities that you plan. The switchbacks here gives a pretty good picture of switchbacks. Switchbacks are trails that zigzag up a hillside to reduce erosion. Because they have gradual gradients, they are much easier to climb than straight, steep trails, another good reason to always stay on the trail. By avoiding cutting the trail, you are also keeping your group safer by avoiding hazards like cliffs and ravines. So, I don't know if you guys have all seen one or been on one, but it's just a zigzag that goes up the hill. And when I was a scout, our big hill here, Big John, used to not be a switchback. It used to be a straight trail, and it rutted out and rained out really bad, and it was really not very safe. It was slippery. There was a lot of roots to trip on, so we converted that to a switchback here a number of years ago. Dispose of waste properly. Even the shortest outing will generate some waste, including litter, human waste, and dishwater. It's important to dispose of this waste properly. Litter is the easiest waste to deal with because you simply pack it out. And if hikers and campers who came before you left trash behind, pack that out as well. We talked about that. Getting rid of human waste outdoors requires special care. In campgrounds that have restrooms or outhouses, be sure to use them. Where there are no such facility, follow the guidance of local land managers. They will likely direct you to dig a cat hole or latrine. Here it kind of gives you a, I'm going to let you guys go over this yourself for digging a cat hole, all the steps there. If you guys have never had the opportunity to use a cat hole, it's a little different than sitting down on your toilet at home, but again, we can't just leave our waste around everywhere. It's not hygienic. It can make people sick. It can make animals sick, so always dig a cat hole. Use biodegradable toilet paper as well. Otherwise, get with your local land managers, your rangers, your guides, or whatever for ways to dispose of that properly. It says here that urine causes fewer problems than solid waste when possible. However, urinate on rocks, gravel, or pine needles instead of on trees. The salt in urine can attract animals that strip the barks off of trees and damage them. For you young men out there, that's urinating in the woods is a little bit more of a simple task than for the young ladies, but again, follow your steps there for the ways to do that safely and conscientious of the nature around you. So keep soap away from open water. Any soap, even the biodegradable kind, can leave a residue that might harm fish, plants, or other organisms in streams and lakes. There's a couple, there's lots of different options for outdoor soaps here, so choose a soap that is designed to be kind to the environment, then dispose of soapy water at least 200 feet away from bodies of water. At least 200 feet. If you're dumping your soapy dishwater in the weeds over by 100 feet away from a lake or a stream, it can get washed down in the rain and really hurt the local wildlife there. So disposing of your dishwater, strain the food bits out of your dishwater and put them in your trash. Carry the dishwater and rinse away from your camp at least 200 feet from any streams or lakes. Give it a good fling into the weeds. I'm going to touch briefly here on the biodegradability of certain things that you might use in your camping trip. Something is biodegradable if it can be broken down by microorganisms within a reasonable amount of time. Here's how long it takes some substances to biodegrade. Paper towel, 2 to 4 weeks. Orange or banana peel, 2 to 5 weeks. Apple core, 2 months. Cardboard box, 2 months. Wool sock is 1 to 5 years. Wax coated paper milk carton, 3 months. Plastic bag, 10 to 20 years. Tin can, 50 years. Aluminum can, 80 to 200 years. Soft plastic water bottle, 450 years, and fishing line 600 years. So you see now why it's so important to pick this stuff up. We want to conserve the nature around us for future generations. So plastic's a big one that doesn't biodegrade very readily, if it does at all. Leave what you find. Among the joys of being outdoors is finding evidence of the natural world and of our past. Resist the temptation to collect antlers, petrified wood, unusual rocks, alpine flowers, and other natural souvenirs. Removing almost anything can change an environment in ways that might have a negative effect on wildlife and plant communities. So, it's always interesting to find an antler or a bone or something, but you also have to remember that the small rodents of the areas like squirrels, ground squirrels, mice, and that kind of thing in our area here in the Midwest, they rely on those bones and antlers for a source of calcium. They chew them up and eat them. So, you might not think it's going to affect nature, but, it could be the difference of life or death for a squirrel in your area. So leave a place in as good a condition as you found it by removing everything that you bring into an area. Don't leave structures or furniture at a campsite, and don't dig trenches. Pack it in, pack it out. It's good advice when it comes to food wrappers, cans, paper, and whatever else you've carried to camp or along the trail. I think we covered minimizing campfire impacts pretty well, but you guys can read through these different points here about minimizing campfire impacts. We covered respecting wildlife. Again, you know, don't follow them around. Stay quiet. It's fun to see them, but don't you know, resist the urge to chase them down and stress them out. So we talked about being considerate. There's the tread lightly principles. I'm not going to go over those. You guys should review those on your own. There's 5 different points to the tread lightly. Well, I think that's going to cover it here for our outdoor ethics. Again, you guys read along, study any of the stuff that I didn't cover. If you have any questions, get with a parent or adult leader. If they don't have any answers, you can email me. There's about 130 kids for our Scouts BSA camp here, so if I don't respond to your email right away, there is a few of us on that email, but there's only 3 of us. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email us, but don't be too concerned if it takes us a day or 2 to get back to you. There's a lot of us trying to do a lot of work for this camp here, so get with your you know, your parent, an older leader in your troop, or an older scout in your troop, troop leader. Ask your Google machine any questions, and if that still doesn't work, then yes, please feel free to get a hold of us. We're gonna move on to the EDGE method of teaching a skill, and then we're gonna move on to some knots, some rope care, some lashings. If the rain holds out, we're gonna discuss campsite selection and pitching a tent, tent selection. So I'm going to show you some knots, some lashings. I'm going to make a couple of camp gadgets for you using those lashings. So stick with us. We're almost through the bookwork stuff and move into more of our practical skills. And again, if you guys have any questions about anything, please let us know.